Hey, this is Ed here at Wunderlich, and today I want to show you one of the coolest bars that we offer for the F900 XR and the F900R. This is our sport engine protection bars. They're a little bit more low profile than the other bars that we offer, but they give you a very, very good added protection in case of any kind of tip over or spill. If you're riding on the gravel road, you can simply pick the bike back up. It'll help cause a lot less damage, primarily to the engine, but also to the fairing. It allows you to actually pick up the bike and keep going on your adventure. A couple cool features about this bar. It is made of powder coated steel. You could see just the quality of the welds and just the quality of the part, how it fits to the bike. It's very superior to everything else on the market. It mounts to the engine through 4 mounting positions, so it's really going to distribute any kind of impact force evenly throughout the engine. Another key feature to these bars is you do not have to remove them for any kind of normal maintenance to the machine. The install is quite simple once you have everything kind of laid out and you can look at the instructions, but I'm going to go ahead and walk you through what you're going to need on the right side and what you're going to need on the left side and what you need to do with all the torque specs on how to get them on your machine. So let's get started. Okay, I have the engine bars unpackaged and I have them laid out, and I have a variety of tools. I'm going to show you what you're going to need to properly install these engine bars. So I have some pliers, some wire cutters. I have various ratchets and extensions. I love using extensions for every time you're using a ratchet. And then the different sizes you'll need a Torx T55. You'll need a 19 millimeter socket. We're going to need to put some torque on there, so get a good socket. I also have a T45 Torx on a socket, and I have a T50 Torx on a socket. Okay, so those are the tools you're going to need for the installation. So let's talk about the parts that come in the kit. So I have everything laid out on what's going on the right side. So we got the right side bar, very easy to tell. You can just hold it up to the bike, you'll know that's the right side bar. You should be grabbing 2 8x30s with a torque head for the right side. Grab one of the longer bolts and one of the washers. That's going to go like that. And then you're going to be using the smaller spacer on this side, 1 cap, and 1 zip tie. All right, first what we're going to do is we're going to be removing the fasteners that are the existing fasteners on the bike to make room for the engine bar. So these fasteners are this larger one that's on the main frame, the bottom one on the bottom of the engine, and then you'll notice that there's a kind of a clip right here that's held on. All these wires are held on by this little clip. We're going to be removing that zip tie, removing that clip to make way for the 8x30 bolt. So let's get started. Okay, T55. Go ahead and crack this loose. So this is an engine securing bolt, but don't be alarmed, nothing's going to happen when you remove it. So this bolt is not going to be used anymore, so we're just going to set that aside. All right, next tool we're going to need is a T50 Torx I like to use extensions on everything. We're going to be cracking this bolt loose here. So go ahead and set that one aside because that will be reused. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to very carefully cut that zip tie without cutting any of the wires. So find a good little spot, and we're just going to push all this stuff out to the side. Just go ahead and pull the zip tie through. This is where your pliers come in hand. So just grab that, crack it loose, and this will unscrew. Go ahead and set that aside. All right, so now we're ready to install the bar. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to grab the larger bolt with the washer. Just to get it started, we're going to put it through the hole. And then you'll see in the kit that it comes with a little tiny bottle of Loctite, which is highly recommended with these engine protection bars. So you just want to sparingly put a little bit on the threads. You don't need a whole lot. This stuff goes a long ways. Something like that. So once you got the thread lock on, go ahead and get the smaller spacer. Spacer goes on the bar, and then we can go ahead and feed the bar onto the bike. Everything kind of lined up. You can just go ahead and get this top bolt started. just so the bar kind of hangs in position here. Next thing we'll do is we're going to take the bottom mounting bolt, the one that we kept, that's holding on the bracket for the oxygen sensor wire coming off the header. So we'll just throw a little extra Loctite on that bolt. Make sure the spacer and the sleeve go in properly, everything lines up. And go ahead and just get that started with your finger tight. Okay, so all that's left should be these 8x30 millimeter bolts. Once again, add a little Loctite to the bottom of the threads. Go ahead and just get this get the thread started here. So this top mount, you're just going to want to push these wires right here, push these to the side to make room for the bar. Make sure everything's lining up properly. There we go. As you can see, I mean, this bar is just installing very beautifully. Everything lines up, and I've installed many engine bars in my life, and I gotta say, the way these things actually fit the bike, you don't have to pull, you don't have to stretch, they simply bolt on the bike. Last bolt goes into the top here. So right now we're gonna go through and we're just gonna hand tight. Since we have all the fasteners in, we're just gonna get everything nice and hand tight, then we'll go back and we'll torque everything to spec. Top one here, you're gonna need a 19 millimeter socket. T50 for the bottom. And then I'm just gonna go back and just check them all real quick, make sure everything's equally tightened. Good, good, good. All right, so now we're ready to torque all the fasteners. The first one we're gonna torque is this top mounting bolt. This is gonna be the one with the most torque. It requires 100 Newton meters, but you're just gonna want a torque wrench that doesn't max out at 100, but can handle 100 Newton meters. So let's go ahead and dial it out, get this thing set, and then lock it in place. Probably gonna come this way. There it goes. So next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna be torquing the 8x30s, and these ones are 16 Newton meters. They don't take a whole lot of torque. So it's very easy to over tighten these ones. Got a 16, go ahead and lock it in place. All right, those both are torqued. Next one's gonna be this bottom original fastener, and it gets torqued to 32 Newton meters. And we're gonna be using the T50. So the last thing we're gonna do is we're gonna re-secure the wires to very close to the original position on the engine bar with the supplied zip tie. Once again, do not over tighten. Pinch the wires, snips, snap it off. I always just like to tuck the zip tie buckle in the back just so it's not noticeable. Last thing is the kit comes with the cover for this ugly bolt right here. So just go ahead and press that on there. And there you go. Let's go ahead and move on to the left side. Okay, here we are on the left side of the machine. So here's the left bar. Let's just go ahead and we're gonna hold it up into position so we can see all the mounting locations. So there's a couple things we're gonna need to remove to get this bar on. First is we're gonna need to remove this big M12 bolt going into the frame. And then we're also gonna need to just pull this cover off to the side just so we can get access to the hole in the engine right here. So first thing we're gonna do is let's pull that bolt off. You're gonna need a Torx 55 to remove this bolt. Go ahead and set that to the side. We're no longer gonna be using it. And then this little plastic shroud needs to come off. So I have a T25 here. We're gonna remove this screw. Okay, with this screw removed, there's a little rubber button up here that needs to pop off. So I'll just kind of grab hold of it, just very gently pull straight towards you. Should just pop right off. There you go, see that? Unhook the wire. We can just take this completely out of the equation. And then we're just removing that just so we can get access to that hole. Okay, so now we're ready to put the engine bar on. Okay, so the first attachment is gonna be the larger bolt at the top. It comes with the longer supplied spacer. This little shoulder goes in the bike. So we'll go ahead and just seat that in there. Okay. Grab the long bolt, I'm gonna go ahead and just drop a little bit of the supplied thread locking fluid at the end of the threads. Okay. Just gently hold this up to the bike. Insert the bolt. All right, so the next bolt we're gonna be putting in is the 8x25, the smaller one of the two. Same story, a little thread locking fluid at the tip of the bolt. Go ahead and thread that in here. Just finger tight for now, we'll come back. And then we're gonna go with the 8x30. Once again, thread locking fluid. Thread that in down here. And last but not least, a little button head. That's gonna come down here by the side stand pivot. Go ahead and thread that in. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna evenly tighten all the bolts just so they're nice and snug, and then we're gonna go back and we're gonna torque each of the bolts to spec. Okay, so now we have everything nice and snug. The first torque is gonna be 100 Newton meters on the 12mm bolt here, so we'll start with that. Once again, we're gonna be using our 1/2" torque wrench with a 19mm socket. All right, so the last three fasteners, this guy here, and the button head are all gonna be 16 Newton meters. So we're gonna go ahead and dial that in. For this, I'm gonna use an extension and a T45 Torx. Okay, the engine bar is installed. We've got a couple last things to button up here. Let's go ahead and put this plastic shroud back on. So we're just gonna wanna clip the wire back into the front of it. And then just locate this little button here. It's just gonna get pressed right back onto that nipple. Get everything lined up, push it on. Take the fastener that we took out. Go ahead and put that back in. Nice and snug. And then last but not least, we're gonna go ahead and put the cap on this 12mm bolt to keep it nice and sano. And there you have it. There's the installation. All right, there's the installation of our sport engine protection bars. They're offered in black. They fit the F900 XR and the F900R. This is just another great example of the protection parts that we offer for the F-Series BMWs. If you have any questions about this product or any products you've seen on this video, please see a link in the description below. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Ride safe, and we'll see you on the road.